Good morning. This is Hangout with Coach Kerry, and I'm Coach Kerry. I want to welcome you today to this episode. It's a viewers Q&A session. So it's our Q&A session. So that means questions that my VIP panelists or other people have sent to us that we're going to be answering for them. And I'm honored today to have one of my VIP panelists to help me out today. And her name is Dr. Diana Galbraith. Diana, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and how people can get in touch with you?
Thank you, Kerry. As Kerry mentioned, I'm Dr. Diana Galbraith. My company is First Get Healthy, and what I do is I work with professional women and other women who have been very busy in their lives, caught up either in their business, in their families, whatever, and often to the neglect of their own health and their own well-being. And so what I do is I work with them directly, and I help them come up with plans that fit into their lifestyle to regain their health, to regain their energy, and do it in a way that really isn't extreme but fits into their lifestyle, so that it's something that they can sustain and do for the long term. Because as many of you know, there's lots of diets and other programs out there, but the problem is women, and New Year's is just around the corner, but women will start these programs, but they're never able to maintain them because they're so extreme or so hard to fit into their lifestyle. And it really does come down to finding things you can do that fit with who you are and your lifestyle, so that you can maintain them for the long term. And that's really the only way to have long-term health and for those who are looking for it, weight loss. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who are watching this on the webinar or Hangout, so you can see it visually, if you notice on the back of behind Diana, there are 7 pictures behind there. And so Diana knows a little bit about what she talks about, because not only is she a medical doctor, but in addition to that, and her husband is as well, but in addition to that, they have 7 children. So Diane, I think you somehow have cracked the code on how to stay healthy and take care of 7 children in the process.
Well, I have to tell you, I did have a time in my life where I was really run down. I hadn't been taking care of myself, and that was shortly after my last was born. And I really went through this journey of looking and exploring for myself and for my children. You know, what is a healthy lifestyle? How can we have optimal health? And I mean, many of the things I was taught in medical school were actually, I found, outdated or needed some rethinking based on current research. So it was quite fun, and made changes in my own lifestyle. And I can tell you that actually I feel more energetic and healthier today than I did 10, 15 years ago after my last child was born. So yeah, what you do can make a huge difference.
Yeah, so how can they get a hold of you again, Diana, just to make sure that if at the end of this episode and they've watched this, that people would like to find out more about what you have to do, how can they do that?
The best place to get a hold of me is on my website, which is www.1stgethealthy.com. That's first as in 1stgethealthy.com.
Great, excellent, good. And so again, this is our Q&A episode here. So today, Q&A. This is information for you that isn't specifically about a particular topic, but just the general Q&As that come up from our viewers who want to know a little bit more about something. So today I've got a couple of questions I know that Diana has personally, and then I've actually asked her to ask me some that have come from other viewers as well. So just know that you can always interact and tell me a little bit about what you're looking for and some questions you'd like to have, which will be great. And Diana, just when I'm talking, if you wouldn't mind just popping me on mute, honey, just so that we can keep the quality of the call, that would be great. Thank you. Good. So, so today, again, I just want to remind you that past episodes of the Hangout with Coach Kerry show can be found at www.hangoutwithcoachkerry, and Kerry spelled Kerry.com. So you can go on there. In addition to that, I have a copy of my book, which is How to Get Out of Overwhelm and Accelerate Your Business for Massive Results. Go download it. Read it, especially if you're watching this live right now or around the Christmas 2014 season. it's a great opportunity for you to be able to maybe take that time and read through it. It's not long, but it maybe will inspire you to what things you want to put into place for 2015. So Diana, let's get started on this episode because I know we're going to have a lot to cover in our short period of time here. Why don't you ask me my very first question, your very first question?
Absolutely. Well, this is the time of season when people are often goal setting and making goals, and what makes those who make goals and fulfill them stand out from those so many of us who make goals and don't meet those goals? So what really is the difference?
That's a great question, and there are, on today's episode, we're not going to take time to go into the whole thing of changing mindsets and all of that happens, and that's a lot of the work that you would do. But from just a practical, logical sense of some of the steps to take for people who actually know what they want to have is, first of all, you have to have a really clear vision. So you need to know where you're going to go, right? So a little card here just to remind you visually. So you have to it starts all with your vision, and that's the 3 to 5 year plan, maybe even 10-year plan with some reasons why. What was the reason why you wanted to do this in the first place? And you need to be reviewing this on a yearly basis, maybe even quarterly basis. Is that still true for me? Is that still where I want to go? Then the next piece is you need to take into consideration, what are your goals? So this is part of actually putting together what I call a strategic plan. And I'm going to be offering a webinar in the new year on creating a strategic plan and some of the steps. So make sure that you watch for that notice to come out either on my Facebook page, Kerry Brown Coach, or on my Google Plus community as well, or page, which is again Kerry Brown Coach as well. So, and hang out with Coach Kerry. So make sure that you connect with me on there. So starts with vision. That's the long term. That's the pull. That's the reason you want to do something. And you want to tie that into emotional reasons as well. So that it has not just to do with a practical sense, because sometimes when we think of business, it's just going to be practical ideas or practical reasons. But we also want to talk about what do you get? How are you going to be different? How are you going to do things differently? What is your experience going to be if you were to achieve that? And that's really going to help you hone down what your vision is. So then once you've checked in with that, then we need to figure out what are going to be your goals. So the goals for 2015, what are they? They need to be dated and they need to be measurable. And they need to be ones that you really care about, ones that matter to you. And if you have a team, that also will matter to your team so that you can rally them around that particular goal. If you have a team and you have a vision and they are not buying into it, you're going to be at odds with each other. And if you set goals for that year and they're not on board with you with that, you're going to be at odds with each other as well. And if you're a solo entrepreneur, which most of you who watch my episodes are, then you need to ask yourself that same question. Is this goal that I'm setting really important to me? Is it something that matters enough to me that I'm going to align my life around it? And I think that's the really key piece to ask yourself. Then often what happens once we set 5 or 6 goals for 2015 or our next year up ahead, what we often have a tendency to do, and I do this happens when I'm working with my clients one-on-one, they immediately go into, here's what I need to do. Here are the strategies I'm going to put in place. And you have to stop. So take a time out. Stop at that point, and what you want to do now is say, where am I right now? That's called your current reality between the goals you've set and where are you right now. So you're going to do what's called a gap analysis. You're going to determine that difference, and often we don't want to take a look at where we are. So in your business, for an example, if you said you wanted to grow your business by 20%, so that's measurable, you actually want to put in that goal amount what that amount is going to be. So what's the amount of money you're going to make next year? And that could be net or that could be gross sales. Whatever you want to measure, you want to measure. Although I do recommend that you have a goal around profit. Then that next step is, where am I right now? And so rarely people do that. They get immediately into, okay, here's what I need to do, here's what I need to take, these action steps I need to take. We need to stop for a moment and say to ourselves, where am I right now? How much was my profit last year? Did I make a profit last year? What were my gross sales next year? How many clients do I have? And be clear to stop yourself from going into those strategies immediately, because it's so easy to do that. We get excited and we start thinking of those hold the phone. Stop that. Ask yourself, what's worked? What isn't working? What are you confused about? You want to be asking yourself these questions, and this is all part of this gap analysis between these goals you've got and where you are right now. And if you don't know where you are right now, it's impossible to do that gap analysis. It would be as if you were going to decide you were going to go on a vacation and you knew where your destination was, but you didn't take into consideration where your starting point was. So that's a really, really key piece. So back to answer your direct question, Diana, is that the biggest issue is people do not take into consideration their current reality. They immediately link goal, and then they take action steps. And it's impossible to map out your steps if you don't know where your starting point is first. And you'll never know all of those steps at the very beginning, because every step you're going to take is going to inform the next step. So start with vision, check in. Are you still doing this business for the reasons that you originally started? What do you want to achieve? Who do you want to serve? Just go back and really look at that again. And if those are all still true for you, then you take a look at what are your goals for this next year or this next quarter. Where am I right now? Do some analysis. Do that gap analysis. Check where you are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what your competition is. So you really do that analysis, and then and only then do you get into your action steps, to your strategies. So Diana, I hope that answered your question maybe and more.
Yeah, no, that was very, very good. I look forward to the session you're doing in the new year as well to go a little more detail into this. That was great.
Good, excellent, good. All right, my dear, so let's go on to our next question for today.
Okay. Well, many of us who are solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, we've gone into what we do because we love what we do. And that's, I mean, I can speak for myself. So there's a passion driving us. And so we often evaluate how we're doing. We color it a little bit because we think to ourselves, well, I really love what I'm doing. I'm helping people. It's very satisfying. And we sometimes put the business part a little bit to the side to our own detriment. And so, are we profitable? Are we growing to where we want to be growing? We often leave those questions a little bit to the side because we're passionate about what we do. And so I guess my question is just the balance there between when what you do is your passion, keeping your business sense still very much in front of you.
Great question. And I see this all the time, especially in the world of solo entrepreneurs. However, most successful businesses will have started at this place as well, where they have an idea, something that they're excited about. So I will tell you right out of the gate that unless you actually learn business acumen and develop business acumen, passion will not guarantee success. In fact, what will happen is you will soon no longer be passionate about your business because you will be discouraged. You're not achieving your goals, you don't have those benchmarks in place, and you become really discouraged as a result of it. So absolutely there has to be a balance between those two. And I would say is that you want to err, especially in the early days, on the side of learning about business, developing business strategy, business acumen, challenging all of the assumptions that you have. Because what happens along with passion is that well-meaning friends and family are encouraging you to head on this entrepreneurial world that you're going, or in this entrepreneurial venture that you're going in, and they're not asking you the challenging questions, which is there a market for this? Who's your competition? What's going to be unique about your business versus other businesses? How are you going to market yourself? How are you going to get people to come to whatever product or service that you have to your business? Because just because you build it doesn't mean they come. Unfortunately, it was a great movie, Field of Dreams, but it doesn't happen in business at all. In fact, what happens is you build the field and no one comes. And then you are discouraged, and then you are no longer passionate. And the road is scattered with entrepreneurs who are discouraged, and they've left being self-employed, and they're going back, and now they have jobs again. So I'm going to say to you is that right out of the gate, it's really important for you to be spending the majority of your time figuring out what you need to do to be successful in business. So that is understanding your competition, understanding where you sit in the marketplace, understanding that you are in the business of marketing. That is your number one business. It's not the product or service that you offer. It's marketing. That you have to become really skilled at the marketing arm, knowing what's going to create predictable income for you. That is your number one mission, is predictable income. You have to get good at hiring or outsourcing people to help you do those things that there's no sense in you doing well. You have to understand, so putting business systems in place. And you have to have a place, either that's someone or a group of people, to challenge your thinking. Because unfortunately what happens is we fall in love with our own ideas. We think our notions and our perspective are correct, but in fact we haven't ever had anyone challenge us on that. So for an example, Diana, what happens is we offer service to our clients. We price our products or services in alignment with what we think might be fair. Well, we haven't done any research with that. And the problem is the road to failure is sometimes along that road of being fair and faulty entrepreneurial thinking. So we have to learn to be really diligent about putting those things in place, to put those metrics in place, to test everything that we do, to treat it as if you're going to have many, many operations. So you put those things in place so you can check in with that. So Diane, I suspect you've got a couple of questions for me on this, so we can have some dialogue back and forth on this. So based on what I've said so far, is there either a question or a further clarification on something that I've said?
Well, what you said was excellent, actually. Marketing, I think, many of us who do follow our passion are very heart-based practitioners. And so I think the part that often we stumble upon is the marketing part, because we like helping people, but we don't always like selling ourselves. And we sometimes perceive marketing as that slick car salesman in the corner trying to sell you a car, and so we steer away from it. And so what are some ways to have a healthy perspective towards marketing?
Great question. I received a blog post just a few days ago where a woman who's in the marketing industry said that she's so shocked when she meets solo entrepreneurs, small business owners, and they say they hate marketing. Because in fact, if you hate marketing, then you're going to be out of business. Just the bottom line. So how do you do that? Because inside marketing, of course, is the next, because marketing is what fills your funnel. Then you have to actually have some sales strategies to take those people through a process that has the end result that they buy your product or service. So you have to get really comfortable with both of those. So the best way is to ask yourself, what are my current perspectives, beliefs about marketing? What are my current perspectives, beliefs around sales? And be really honest with yourself. Go deeper in them. Do I have some deeply held beliefs that cause me to avoid marketing, or that I think that they are all slick car salesmen, or that if people hear about what I have and it's right for them, they'll buy it, and if they don't, then they won't, and that's the way it's meant to be? That's a faulty perspective. So you have to first of all identify what it is, because you can only change what you acknowledge. That's a basic coaching tenet that is just so true about everything in our lives. So understand what it is that you think about marketing, what it is, and it may be, I don't know enough about marketing. Well, okay, then you need to acknowledge that, because then you can do something about it. The same thing regarding sales, that if I have a sales system that I walk people through, I'm going to be convincing people to buy something that they don't want to buy. Maybe that's a perspective, and I will tell you, I've heard that before. Well, the fact of the matter is, if that were true, then I'd be challenging you that you'd be living on the beaches of Hawaii or in some exotic locale, and you wouldn't probably even be in business anymore because you'll have made so much money. The fact of the matter is that people, if you believe that people have the inherent right to make the right decision, then all you want to do is help them walk through the process that if your product or service is the right thing, that they actually come to the conclusion to buy it. Because so often people don't come to that conclusion. They in their own fear and their own concerns, make the wrong decision, which is not buy your product or service. So you have to walk them through a systemized process that helps them become clear that they have a problem that your product or service happens to offer. So to answer your question, Diana, first of all, it comes to understanding what your faulty beliefs and notions and perspectives are around whatever it is that's holding you back. Be honest with yourself. Take off those rose-colored glasses. Put them aside. Maybe this is where working with a coach could be really good, because a coach could be challenging you on those particular perspectives that you've got. You know, I have the ability to be able to have a much larger view, and I've heard really these objections before. So I pretty much know what's holding somebody back if in fact they're saying, I don't like marketing, or I'm not good at marketing, or they'll try some marketing but they won't continue with it, or even the sales process. So identify what it is first, and then ask yourself, what would be another perspective on that? And take a look at other perspectives. Because I guarantee you, people who have successful businesses, their perspective on marketing and sales is very different than yours if you're being held by some faulty notions. If you ask them what their belief in marketing is, they'll probably say something like, well, it's the key to business success, and you have to understand your marketplace, you have to understand who your audience is, you have to understand what their pains are, you have to understand what your competition is, you have to understand what's different, you need to know what strategies, you need to have 10 marketing strategies in place, and so on and so on and so on. So you won't hear them say, I hate marketing, or I'm not good at marketing, because they've learned the skills and they've checked their belief system so that they understand that those things are in alignment, and then they can go and take action, and then they'll get results from that. So Diana, give me some feedback on what I've just said.
Yeah, no, that was very, very good. You know what, one thing that was coming to my mind was actually, because you have a lot of experience, you've read a lot out there, and I'm a reader. I mean, I like reading. And so just a very simple question here, but what would be your top 3 favorite resources or books that if somebody wanted to challenge themselves on some of these ideas that you've talked about, or understand a little bit more about marketing, but from an easy way to do it, what would be your top 3 resources?
Great. Well, one of them I would recommend on selling is called Spin Selling, and really what it talks about is that consultative process. So I'd really recommend that you look at that one. There's actually another one, is that you can't learn how to ride a bike at a seminar. And again, that's a great one as well. Then from a marketing standpoint, one of them is, I really like Jumpstart Your Business Brain. And he's got a couple of books in that thing. The Jumpstart Your Business Brain is a great one. And then, because a lot of you are solo entrepreneurs and you are in business for yourselves and you want to set yourself apart, you probably say, I'd like to be a boutique business or something like that, then I'd really recommend a book called Worth Every Penny. And it's really about setting yourself as the boutique in your industry. So it'll deal with issues, and I work with my clients, we walk through it and then put the strategies in place in order to make this, because you can read a book, but then it's putting it in place, which is the piece that requires some accountability and a commitment to someone else to do it. I recommend that you get that book Worth Every Penny, because it talks about setting yourself as a boutique business, where the question of price doesn't become the issue then. It's about the quality of service and what sets you apart from your competition. So I actually gave you 4 rather than 3 books, 2 of them on selling and 2 of them on marketing, that I would really recommend to get your brain thinking from a different perspective. And that actually, thanks for asking me that, Diana, because maybe one of the episodes I might deal with is just my top best books for business. Maybe that might be a useful topic. So thank you for that one.
Yeah, that would be great, actually. And you're absolutely right. I mean, you can read all the books in the world, but unless you can start applying them and putting them into practice, it's not going anywhere. Yeah. So my next question actually has to do with a specific form of marketing that many of us as solopreneurs do, because it's very easy, it's for the most part quite affordable, and that's networking and going to networking events. And again, as a heart-based practitioner, it's very easy to kind of fall into the trap of just, I guess almost making it like a social occasion, because these are your friends, these are people you've come to get to know, and it's a very enjoyable time. But of course, as business owners, we need to also make it a business event, because that's the whole. Well, that is supposed to be the purpose of it. So how do we keep the balance there, and how do we make sure that we don't turn networking events just into a fun friend time, but keep it as a business, with, of course, not becoming that pushy constant salesman either, but the balance there.
Great question. And I think this is a perfect question for us to kind of wrap up this whole session about, either because we've been talking about marketing and whatnot. So I guess the first thing is that networking is about relationship building. So I want you to give yourself a little bit of a break if you feel like you go to an event and maybe it feels very social, because in fact, people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And I guarantee you, if somebody goes to a networking event with an outcome which is or an expectation that they're going to make a sale at that event, or at least as a result of that particular event, it's not going to happen, because you won't have taken that time to build the know, like, and trust. So first and foremost, relationship building is key, because that's how you build that know, like, and trust, and you can build it pretty fast that way. The second piece is to go with an intention. And again, an intention that's around, I'm going to meet one new person or 2 new people, rather than 15, because that's challenging to anybody to follow up with that. So you're better off setting a small intention or goal for that particular event, that you're going to meet 1 or 2 new people. And I would even qualify and say 1 or 2 new people that are your target or ideal client. So that as you're having conversations with people and you're looking to meet new people there, you're looking to find out if they fit your criteria for your ideal client. Because remember, they're not going to have an orange cone on their head, and so they're not going to say, I'm your ideal client, and flashing lights. You're going to be asking them some questions. So you want to be clear ahead of time what kind of questions you would ask to get to know them better, to see whether there's a fit, so that you can build a know, like, and trust factor with someone who is an ideal client of yours. And then if you have a particular offering that is for that ideal audience, then you want to be clear how you're going to offer that to people. And it may be that you've got an upcoming webinar, or you've got an upcoming product that you're launching, or it could be a particular sale. And you may not have that for your for that networking event, but if you do, you want to be clear on how you're going to tell people about that. And that would just be, and again, you want to be careful, you want to be aware of how you're going to present that. So it could be, once you've had the dialogue, you've identified they are an ideal client of yours, you might say something like, I'd love to just have a conversation with you. Maybe we could grab tea next week, because I've got an idea about this upcoming webinar I've got that might just be, you might just suit what you're looking for. And you may not even mention at that point, and all you're going to do is follow up. So how you get results from networking events is continue to build those relationships, because the people that you already know there, if they're your ideal client, then you want to continue to build that relationship with them, and you want to set a target for how many new people that you're going to meet who are your ideal audience, how you're going to ask those questions, determine where they are, and then have a next step with those people. The next step is where you're going to continue to build that relationship, and that's when you'll start seeing lots of results from going to those networking events. If all you do is arrive, say hello to the people that you already know, and you're not building that repertoire of other people, or at least having conversations with the people that you already know that are from a bit of a business context. So how's business been for you this year? You mentioned last time you were doing this. How's that gone for you? Be that person that remembers pieces about those people versus just from the social perspective of it. Again, it's building relationships. You want to have that little bit of intention attached to that as well. So Diana, considering the various networking events that you go to, would that be a little bit of a shift, or enough of a shift to maybe get you different results from your networking events that you go to?
I think so. It's not so much that I think the missing piece that you commented on is that idea of intention. And so it's still doing the same things that I'm doing. It's just going there with more of an intention in the back of my mind, that intention of meeting a couple of new people, and strategizing from there Yeah, I think that's great, actually.
Great. You know, my experience has been so many people is they're driving to their networking event and they arrive, and then it's, oh, I'm here, and they're expecting to get something from that. So whether it's on the drive there or whether it's during that day ahead of time, prepping yourself and asking yourself, what is my intention for the event tonight, or today, or the lunch, or whatever it is? Who do I want to, is there somebody new I want to build a relationship with? Is there somebody that I want to get to know better? Is there somebody that I realize is my ideal client, and I haven't really had a chance to get to know them yet? Then how can I go and seek them out and start building that? So you're continually growing and growing and growing that list of people that know, like, and trust you. And then you will start getting results from your networking events. Absolutely. Especially, I mean, if you are going to places where your ideal audience is. And that's one of the first things for you to be asking yourself, is my ideal audience here? And if it is, then it's about your activity there that will build those relationships and turn those people into clients for yourself. So Diana, what a great episode today. We covered, again, this was our Q&A session. Lots of good stuff. We talked about vision. We talked about strategic plan. And we talked about the various strategies that you could use for networking and building those relationships. So today, again, was our Q&A session, and we do these on a random basis, but every 6 weeks or so. So make sure, if you like this format, that you watch all the other episodes. Again, you can tune in live at 9 a.m. Pacific time at hangoutwithcoachkerry.com. You can see the show live there. You can see them also on Google Hangouts, and you can go and watch the past episodes as well. And please come and join me on my Google Plus community, Passport to Growth Academy, my community there, where you'll get lots of tips and strategies and special offers just for my community that's there. So Diana, thank you so much again for being my VIP panelist today and asking me those great questions. Just remind everybody again how they can get a hold of you.
At www.first@1stgethealthy.com. That's the best place. They can either email me, or there is a phone number on the website as well. And that's www.1stgethealthy.com. Thank you, Kerry. And it's been a great episode. Really enjoyed it.
Good. Excellent. And so for those of you who are either listening to this as a podcast, or you are watching this as a recording or even live, make sure you tell all of your other colleagues and other people that you know who are in business who could benefit from watching the show. Share this information with them. It allows me to fulfill my purpose, which is to support those people who are in business so that they can enjoy it, that they can still be passionate about what they do, and make money as well. That's my mandate. So again, thanks so much for tuning in today, and I wish you all the very best, and we will be talking to you next week. Bye-bye, everyone.